You're born on Krypton, which, as far as homes in the galaxy go, is pretty good. Your new home is so advanced, they've basically turned science into an art form. We're talking crystalline architecture, technology that makes a quantum computer look like two cups connected by a string, and a society so evolved that they've literally engineered their babies for specific roles, which includes you. When you're born on Krypton, you're assigned to a specific duty. That's how your new society has lasted so long. But it also means that if you want to be a painter instead of a scientist, then tough luck. You were born the son of a scientist, so you'll be a scientist, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Growing up, you're going to be subjected to countless exams, an endless bureaucracy, and a life that's probably not the kind you want to live. Just be thankful you're not one of the miners who have to dig up the resources in Krypton's caves, because those guys don't live too long. For the rest of your life, you don't get to have choices. That's a luxury other people have, not Kryptonians. Speaking of which, your dad, Jor-El, is about to make a big choice that you don't get a say in, defining the rest of your life. You see, your dad is a hotshot researcher, and he's got the slightly controversial opinion that the entire world of Krypton will explode pretty soon. Worst of all, he's actually right. As you can imagine, this didn't go down well with the head honchos of Kryptonian society. When Jor-El told them they would all die and they were burying their heads in the sand, the Kryptonian council got a dump truck full of sand to bury their heads in deeper. Who wants to hear that the world is ending, and it's your fault? So instead, when you're chilling at home with mom, your dad makes a mortal enemy out of the council who threatens to strip him of his rank. That's a big deal in Kryptonian society. If you go against the grain, you're ostracized. This isn't a planet for free thinkers. One day, dad comes home with a bright idea. Considering that he's confident the world is about to explode, he makes the executive decision to put you in a tiny pod and blast you off into space. They programmed the pod with all of Krypton's knowledge and decided to jettison you off into the great beyond to Earth, where, hopefully, you'll have a chance of living. So, before you're ever conscious, your parents die as you careen through space, and Krypton explodes, just like Dad said it would. If having your parents die was a speedrun category, you'd be a world record holder. Life hasn't really started too good for you, but unfortunately, things aren't going to get much better. Your mom and dad realize that by sending you to Earth, you would be far more powerful than human beings. That means you're going to have a lot of power. That sounds great, until you're listening to your dead dad talk about the immense responsibility that is. Remember, you're barely a toddler at this point, and the weight of an entire world is already on your shoulders before you've even touched down. Enter Jonathan and Martha Kent, the quintessential American farming couple who discovers you in your pod in the Midwest fields. You didn't get a good start in life, but this actually isn't too bad. Ma and Pa Kent, as you come to call them, are amazing parents who teach you all about responsibility. So after Uncle Ben dies, wait, wrong timeline. So after Uncle Ben dies, wrong universe. Hold on. This whole responsibility thing, this is just Jor-El's spiel all over again. As you discover your super strength, your ability to fly, laser eyes, x-ray vision, and frost breath, Ma and Pa Ken always tell you to be careful. This one time, you save an entire bus full of kids and think you've done great, but Pa Ken says you should have let them drown. Wait, what? Turns out, you're always going to be different. Maybe you thought that escaping Krypton meant choosing your own way through life, but you'd be dead wrong. Here on Earth, you aren't just powerful, but you have an immense responsibility to use the power wisely. You have to fight the voice in the back of your head and always be the good guy, because it's what your Kryptonian and human parents want, and you've got no choice in the matter. Growing up on a farm with powers is basically an exercise in constant anxiety. Imagine being 5 years old and having to consciously hold back every single time you hug your parents. You smash plates just by touching them. Your hair is impossible to cut with scissors. And you always have to control yourself, no matter how angry you get. Normal teenagers get to let loose and express their anger. If you get angry though, then the National Guard will come knocking, and you might never see your parents again. Every chore becomes a potential disaster. Milking cows? Better not get startled, or you might just send Bessie into orbit. Helping with the harvest? One sneeze, and suddenly you've created a new Grand Canyon in the middle of Kansas. Grooming the dog? Well, the less said about that, the better. Imagine playing football and knowing that you could win incredibly easily. You could just walk past your opponents and they wouldn't be able to do a thing to stop you. Problem is, if you did do that, you might accidentally break their bones or rip them clean in half if you go for a tackle. You are the bull, and the world is a china shop. If you forget to be gentle for even a single second, disaster. You learn really quickly that humans are incredibly fragile creatures. You're a good person, you don't want to hurt anyone, but you always manage to mess up somehow. When the bullies start picking on you, you just have to take it and not fight back. You are so exceptional, but you need to stay really average or risk death and destruction. Needless to say, your head is an absolute mess. Things only get worse when it comes to your love life. Dating becomes an Olympic sport of self-control. Imagine trying to have your first kiss while consciously monitoring your super strength, super breath, and making sure you don't accidentally hover off the ground in excitement. One wrong move and you could accidentally rip your date's face off. You're a teenager, so naturally, you want to show off your abilities that make you special, but you can't. Needless to say, your love life isn't very successful because you appear to the outside world as painfully average. Once you're out of school, the world is open to you. You have so much potential, but don't know where to begin or what to do. Your Kryptonian dad isn't around anymore to give you advice, and Pa Kent wants you to lie low and live as a normal human. That means that for the first years of your adult life, you hear about all the awful things happening in the world, and you decide to do nothing. That is so painful. Imagine being able to hear every crime in the city of Metropolis, knowing that you can do everything to stop it, but you don't. You thought that being a superhero would be amazing, but in reality, it's torture. Even when you go out and try to save somebody, anybody, you can't save everybody. You have to sleep. How many people died while you took a nap? Your life is just one big cycle of guilt. At least in your civilian life, you try to do some good by becoming a journalist at the Daily Planet. The only thing you're liable to break in the newsroom is a pen or a computer keyboard. In one way, this feels good because you get to expose bad people and report on everyday heroism. On the other hand, you get a first-hand look at the scum of the earth. You wonder whether it would just be easy to laser some of these guys and be done with it. However, the voices of Jor-El and Pa Kent circle in your head. Both of them forbid you to kill anyone, even if they might deserve it. You know if you go past that Rubicon, even once, you might never stop. You want to be the world's hero, but you could become Earth's greatest threat. In fact, in some realities you do. Your own mind scares you. What if one day you go insane and kill everyone? Your life is full of anxiety, dread, and fear, despite being the Man of Steel. You can't be Superman all the time, so you pretend to be the bumbling country boy Clark Kent instead. If any villain finds out you're Superman, then they could hurt the people you love. So you create a persona to cover up for yourself, making yourself out to be awful at the stuff you're actually great at. You have perfect muscle control, can calculate trajectories faster than a supercomputer, and have the reflexes that make the Flash look slow, yet you have to pretend you can't walk 3 steps without tripping over your own feet. And then there's your rogue gallery, Lex Luthor, a man so brilliant that he could cure cancer, but instead dedicates his life to finding increasingly elaborate ways to kill you. The more you defeat him, the more violently he comes back. Sometimes he makes clones or robots with your powers, meaning that all the destruction they wreak is, in some way, your fault. Then there's Brainiac, a super intelligent alien computer who keeps trying to shrink cities into cosmic souvenirs. Or what about General Zod, a Kryptonian from your planet, who has decided that you're the reason he was imprisoned in the Phantom Zone for decades. Zod does not care about human lives and will destroy everything in Metropolis. When Zod punches you through a building, all you can think about is the hundreds of people dying because you destroyed their building. No matter what you do, it's never enough, and people die. The reality of being Superman is a constant exercise in impossible choices. When you can hear everything, you have to choose what to ignore. There's always another crisis, another disaster. You have to prioritize threats, like you're playing the world's most stressful game of triage. Even among other superheroes, you're the designated Boy Scout. Batman's got his brooding thing. Wonder Woman's got her warrior princess vibes. Flash has his jokes. But Superman, you have to be the inspiration, the ideal, the guy who makes other superheroes look at their life choices and be better. Because let's be honest, if any of these guys go evil, the rest of the Justice League could gang up and stop them. If you go evil, the world is over. I mean, just look at what happened in that one reality where Lois Lane died. Being Superman isn't all that it's cracked up to be. You're the most powerful being on Earth, but you can't use that power to fix a lot. You can fly, but you have to watch out for air traffic control. You're practically immortal, but you can't save everyone. You see the kids on the street pointing at you and saying that they want to be like you when they grow up, but deep down, you really hope they never have to feel what you do. So yeah, it sucks to be Superman.